Good morning, students, and welcome to Wednesday. All right, you made it through the first 2 days of the week. We've got today with some new work, and then tomorrow we've got our Quest game day, which you can go on WebEx between 9:30-ish, 9-ish, and noon-ish. And we've got some different games, so make sure you check the schedule to see when you can go on there to have some fun, still do some learning, but make some connections that way. All right, so that brings us to our joke today. Why did the Invisible Man turn down the job offer? He just couldn't see himself doing it. Because he was invisible, so he couldn't see himself doing it. But, he didn't want the Invisible Man. Just take the job, Invisible Man. Come on, let's get this economy rolling. So, anyways, today we're going to continue our work with the reading of our fantasy novel. So thank you to those of you who completed reader response number 1 and reader response number 2 inside of Google Classroom. There is another reader response today, number 3, which is going to ask you to start thinking a little bit more about the types of conflict that maybe you are seeing in your book. So make sure you are reading a fantasy book every day. You're logging it in reading rewards, and you are completing those responses. As you are reading, remember we have this lit terms and literature sheet where we're looking at theme, symbolism, archetype, cliche, and then the various types of conflict. So if you do a little bit each day in there, finding some evidence, thinking about how the conflict fits in with the theme, what the theme possibly could be, right? And oftentimes there's not a right or wrong answer with the theme. So as you are reading it, just think about, well, what's the point? What's kind of the hidden message in here? Or what does the author want me to take away from this? Not what literally happened. That's the plot, right? So we don't want the theme to be something like, the theme of this story was so-and-so got lost and had to use his magic powers to get back. Now that's what happened in the story. We want to know the theme. So maybe the theme is discovering yourself. Or maybe the theme is learning from mistakes. Or maybe there is a theme of love and loss in there. Maybe there is a theme of coming of age or growing up. Maybe there is a theme of, dealing with hardship or grief. So you want to think about kind of these bigger picture ideas and how can those fit in with your story, right? If you kind of get the theme, then the rest of it will make sense. So if somebody asks you, hey, what was this book about? You can tell them literally what happened, the plot. Or you can say, well, it's really about a deeper story that relates to blank. That's where we're going to get the theme, and then you can track some symbolism as you go throughout your story. So it all comes down to reading. So we're giving you a lot of time this week to read. Monday and Tuesday was a lot of rainy weather, so hopefully you got a good book and got into your reading. And then we can finish that up through here. We're going to keep using that fantasy book as we go over this week and next week to kind of wrap up our reading for the year. So one element of fantasy could be like if there were talking animals. And so if Mr. DeMarais turned into a talking pigeon, that would be kind of a fantasy book. I know sometimes maybe it seems like he's a talking pigeon, just squawking nonsense at you all the time. But, it is what it is. So I hope you have a wonderful rest of the week. Keep reading that fantasy book. Respond to those reader responses. And really think about those literary terms as you're going throughout your book. This is kind of mesmerizing. Really follows my head as I go up and down.